I was very honored and very impressed, when I got the call that I was receiving this honor. And it totally amazed me because I explained to some of the people I were working part-time with in security in St. Augustine, Florida, that I was going to receive this award. And they were asking me, well, was it because you were leading scorer? And I said, no. I think I maybe scored 1 or 2 goals. And he said, well, were you the captain of the team? And I said, no. And well, were you like, best skater? I said, no. I said, the only thing I ever did really was got the thing going. And then basically when I was a player, I was the enforcer, and they kind of laughed at it. I could see that. And I wanted, when I came for this award, I wanted really to try to explain that I was so honored to be a part of it, that myself and my roommate, Jerry Heiner, who was from New Jersey, and I was from Connecticut, and we sat in our room one day, and we went out for like club football, and I turned around and said, well, I'd like to play hockey. He said, why don't you get a hockey team going? I said, we should get a hockey team going. And we did get going from door to door, getting people involved, knocking on doors, going around from Bonaventure Hall to Girard to Aurelius, even to some seminarians that we got involved to play hockey. And from that simple beginning, we went to the Greens. We knew there was a rink in Greensburg. We went up there, and we got involved with getting ice time, and then we got involved with working as ice skating guards, and then we ended up being in a situation where the director of the rink had asked the hockey players at Saint Vincent College if they would be willing to help him out, and he would give us a break in ice time, so we said sure. And he wanted us to be involved with conducting a youth clinic. There was no youth hockey in Greensburg. There was no hockey around anywhere in Western Pennsylvania, other than the Penguins that just came in. And we said, all right, we'll do that. It was on Saturday mornings, and we used to jump in Jerry's cars on Saturday mornings. Sometimes after you went to the Cole AC Friday night, then you had to jump in the car Saturday morning and go up to the ice rink and start up there back in 1970, and then having the players up there, kids come up to play. They never heard of hockey. They showed up with mittens. They showed up with figure skates. And I always remember there was a picture in the paper, though, and it showed the kids with their figure skates and their mittens and stuff like that. And there we were, the college guys, trying to conduct a clinic, helping these young kids start a hockey program. And from there, the next year, they formed what was called Westmoreland Hockey Association. And from the Westmoreland Hockey Association, which developed maybe with 30, 50 kids, that went on for another 40, 50 years. It's still going on. And then you end up having from the association, then you had the high school team start. And I remember, because I was working here in Westmoreland County as a probation officer, Greensburg-Salem started the team, then Greensburg Central started the team, Hempville got involved, Latrobe got involved. And the next thing you know, the whole thing exploded, it expanded, that because of the St. Vincent community and the St. Vincent players, that hockey has exploded here in Western Pennsylvania and has touched 10,000s of kids and youth, and it's still going on to this day. And I can say that also because I started another program in 1992 at Penn Trafford High School. So I was so on it, but I wanted to make sure that people understood it took a lot of other players from St. Vincent College here to get the whole thing going. So I'm on it not only for me, but I'm on it for them and for the St. Vincent community.
When I first heard I was getting this induction, I was really surprised and then pretty much humbled. And it brought back to mind an awful lot of good guys, good athletes that played here, who I was able to play with. And I really didn't feel at first that I was probably deserving of it, given the quality of some of the real student athletes that I played with here at St. Vincent. But it certainly is an honor. To try and single out one is almost impossible. Coming to St. Vincent back in the fall of 1960, there was a plethora of just so many people and things that were different for me coming out of Richmond, Virginia. First and foremost were the classmates and the teammates that I had for the 4 years. My roommates in college, Jim Ennie was the first one, Maurice Washburn has a great impact on my life back then. Larry Kramer, just a number of the classmates and students here at St. Vincent, and a number of the professors too, the priests and professors, Father Campion, Father Christopher, Father Roderick, and the coaches, Al DeLuca, Mitch Barron, Bill Rafferty. It's hard to imagine the quality of the coaching we got from Al DeLuca in the preseason when we came up for two-a-days. In the evening, we'd have a skull session, and he ended every one with a story. And if any of you remember Al DeLuca or heard of Al DeLuca, he was a great after-dinner speaker. He spoke several times at the Dapper Dan dinner in Pittsburgh, and he could tell a story or spin a yarn as good as anyone. And he'd close every one of those meetings with a story, and you couldn't possibly remember them all, but the one that always sticks out to me is the Barcelarskis trap. Talking about this Barcelarskis, this behemoth of a guard that played for Duquesne University in 1932, and how they took him out of the game. But there are just so many stories and characters that met here that had profound influence on everyone here, including myself. While I came here loving sports, I left here loving a lot of other things like poetry and the arts, and it was just a special place.
I felt very excited. I honestly was not aware of the Hall of Fame program at St. Vincent, so when I got the call from Mike, I was ecstatic. I was very honored. I've been out of college for almost 20 years now, so it's kind of exciting to get a call back from your alma mater and say they're honoring you. So it's an honor. I guess I would say I was named the Freshman of the Year for the volleyball program, which once again was a very great honor. I was not aware. I'm kind of an intense, competitive person, so it was very much an honor to get that award. I think just coming into actually the volleyball camp in the beginning of my freshman year, there was another girl and I that were kind of the recruits for the year. She was like 6 foot, 6'1", and she was also a basketball player, and so she kind of drove me there in camp. She unfortunately eventually did not continue on with volleyball, but I think her and I were very competitive against each other, and I kind of owe my volleyball career a little bit in the beginning to her. But then I just kept working hard, and some honors came along the way that I wasn't expecting, but it was a great experience. And Coach Hozak and I are very competitive and very fiery personalities. She was back then. I think she's calmed down now, so we didn't necessarily always see eye to eye, but we were there working together for the greater good, to win and develop the program, and I know she's had a lot of success since I graduated. Actually, there is, but it wasn't necessarily here. It was actually before I started coming to St. Vincent. Tom Harbert, he was a high school teacher of mine at Greater Latrobe, and he kind of pushed me into both IT, because I was a CIS major here, and I work in IT right now. So he pushed me in that direction and recommended St. Vincent. I checked out the college, really liked it, and then got to know Sue Hozak from the volleyball program, and that's my history. So I credit my career at St. Vincent and my professional career to Mr. Harbert.
Oh, I felt honored because I have a long history in sports. My father coached, and I was pretty close with Coach Canturna playing baseball and basketball. So actually, half a century went by, so I was sort of surprised. And to be honest with you, I didn't know they had an athletic Hall of Fame. He did, because you can imagine the amount of time that we spent together, you know, me doing 2 sports and he coached both of them. And I imagine he was probably, he wasn't the athletic director then, Father Roderick was, but I think Dodo eventually became the athletic director. And he not only helped me, you know, as an individual, he lived in Latrobe, and when I was off campus, he helped my roommate, myself. He got a job for us because we didn't have any money. Worked at a little rec center and a grocery store, so it was very nice. Well, Coach was like a real friend. Not that he was off in the distance, a disciplinarian or just a coach. He was a down-to-earth, personal mentor. It meant a lot to many people. I felt as home talking to him as I come in here talking to you behind a video camera. So that's the real experience for me, was his personal touch. He cared, not only as whether you played for him or not, but to make sure you did all right off campus, like I said, helping you get a job and everything else. And that's what I remember especially. I think you look at the overall experiences, what I look back on, and basically it's the association with classmates and former teammates, the personal touch. You know, that's what makes any institution, is the people who go there and, you know, the people who are given the service.
You know, when I received the phone call, at first I was honored. I was ecstatic. I felt a lot of joy. And then really the next question that came to me was, why me? And then after I thought about that for a little bit, then I said, well, why not? You know, I wasn't a prolific scorer at the time, or didn't make the 1,000-point club, but we achieved quite a few things there during my tenure there, especially during my senior year, and then was chosen to be a small college All-American. Then we had a playoff game against Waynesboro to go to the NAIA, and I think it was in Kansas City at that time, but at that game I had a terrific game, scoring, it was probably, if I recall, but 18 points, 14 rebounds, and just everything came together for me during that time period. And I think that really put the icing on the cake to me as a former player, and what that did for me. I would say 2 people. Number one being Coach Bernie Matthews. Here he takes a city school kid out of the city of Pittsburgh. Didn't do very well on his SAT scores. Had horrible study habits coming out of the city school system, and he gave me a shot. He mentored me. He followed up with me. He always asked, you know, my professors how I was doing. And any help that I ever needed in school, he was always right there to get it for me. And I think the other person, too, that followed me quite a bit was Brother Norman. And he was my guidance counselor as well. And I remember him writing me a note at the end that I was on my way, and I achieved graduation through a lot of hard work and head knocking, but I made it, and that always stuck in my mind.
I was just completely surprised. There's been so many good athletes that have played sports at Saint Vincent, and to be selected from among them for the Hall of Fame is really something I just never thought would happen. And to that end, I regret that my parents are no longer around to share this with me, because if it wasn't for their hard work and sacrifice, I probably would not have even gone to college. Even at a young age, they instilled in me that I would be the first one in our family to get a college education, and they made sure I took the right courses in high school and stayed on top of my grades. So when it came time to select a college, I decided I wanted to go to Saint Vincent. It was relatively close to home. It had a very good academic reputation. It was removed from a lot of the protests and demonstrations that were taking place on the college campuses back in the 60s. And having graduated from a small high school, I just felt more comfortable going to a small college where I knew there would be individual attention and instruction. So when I arrived on campus my freshman year, I only had two goals. I wanted to graduate in 4 years with a college degree, and I wanted to play varsity basketball, and I did both. But now to be inducted into that school's Hall of Fame is something that I consider to be a real honor. Now to that end, there are so many people that I have to thank. First off, I want to thank the Saint Vincent community for having a basketball program and for providing for intercollegiate competition. Secondly, with basketball being a team sport, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge all the many players, teammates that I had over the years. There's far too many to mention by name, but they know who they are. They're all a bunch of great guys, and without their assistance and their competition and their teamwork, I would have never been able to play to the best of my abilities. And last, and certainly not least, special thank you to Coach Canterna and the late Harry Miller. These men provided support, coaching, instruction, and patience, and allowed me to improve my game and become a better player. Coach Canterna showed us what to do on the court, but off the court he showed us how to be gentlemen and how to be good citizens. And those are things you don't learn in the classroom. Harry Miller just had a love for the game. He had the distinction of having played in the first NBA game ever played. He and I we spent a lot of time in a hot, sweaty gym in between seasons, just playing one-on-one or playing horse or working on different shots or different game situations. And I'm sure if Harry's looking down on us today, he's got a big smile on his face. And going forward, I just want to congratulate all the other inductees who are going into the hall this year with me. I'm sure they see this as a privilege and an honor just as I do. I want to wish all the athletic programs at St. Vincent the utmost of success. And I look forward to seeing many more of the great athletes become inducted into the hall in the years to come.
When I received the call from the Hall of Fame committee, I believe I was fairly calm on the outside, but I had a big smile on the inside. This is a wonderful honor, and I'd really like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for this recognition. I'd especially like to thank Wally Hobart, who nominated me. After all these years, Wally, you're still a very good teammate. I'd also like to congratulate my fellow inductees. It's an honor to be in such elite company. Finally, a special thank you to my wife Carol, my daughter Kristen and her family, my niece Ellen and her daughter for joining me on this occasion. You being here really makes it a very special occasion. As I think back, the person who made a lasting impression on me was Coach Canterna. In my freshman year, I was playing intramural basketball. Had no thought or intent of playing varsity basketball. But after the season, Coach Canterna spoke with me, encouraged me to try out for the team next season. Apparently he saw either some talent or some potential that I may have had. So it's pretty obvious I wouldn't be here receiving this honor had it not been for Coach Canterna. So thanks, Coach, for the encouragement and the confidence you had in me so many years ago. Thank you. You know, I have a number of fond memories from my 4 years at St. Vincent, but there's one outstanding memory. It was early in my senior year. There was a political debate on campus, and that was the first time I saw my lovely wife, Carol. Now that was, for me, a wow moment. You know, little did I know then what a change it would have in my life and how my life would be enriched. I was fortunate enough the following weekend to meet Carol, and we've been together ever since. We have 2 great children, 6 wonderful grandchildren, and I can honestly say that she's been my Hall of Famer for the last 48 years.
Hearing the news was nice to kind of have that wave take me back to memories that I really haven't, thought about in a long time. So it was really nice to be pulled back and fun to describe to my kids, what they were questioning. Well, why you? Why are you getting this award? So it's really. It was really just fun to explain to them, what's involved, and they knew that I played basketball, and they had seen my the commemorative ball with my points on it, but they didn't really understand, all that went into getting this award. So I was really grateful. I never missed a practice or a game in the 4 years that I played. I just wouldn't let that happen because I enjoyed it that much. Like nothing was going to prevent me from being there for practice or a game. It was just that much fun. She just truly had a way. I was fortunate. In high school, I was on a really good high school team. My junior and senior year, we won 54 games in a row for North Catholic. And but it was a tale of 2 coaches, the coaching style, because for Kristen, we didn't win all those games in a row, but I played for her and learned more about myself, and I was surrounded by great teammates. Because my high school coach, he coached like out of fear and intimidation, and you really had to play hard to be able to stay out there, but it wasn't, you were just more fearful. But Kristen, she had high expectations, and you met those or tried to meet those because you had that respect for her, and she was truly a gift. And the older I get, the more I appreciate being with her for those 4 years, being a player. You could talk to her anytime, in season, out of season. Her door is always open. So just to be around someone that inspired you to, try to be the best that you could be, that's something I carry through my life now with, as a mother, trying to inspire my children to want to be their best by, with her example. It's just one of those people that truly, again, it was a gift, and I miss her every day, and I really treasure my time with her.